G'day guys, welcome back to Doug Monos. So, where did we leave off last time? Yeah, I'm 30 tomorrow. When we're recording this, I cannot do a backflip. Not sure if I'm in the best shape of my life. But I've come across this story that's really fucking just does my head in, to be honest. So read through it. So they've got a bill that the Australian government's looking over to outlaw trolling people online, essentially. So I'll read through this article from Lad Bible, but I have seen this around a couple of different places. I'm just going to read through this and comment on some of the things that concern me. So trolls in Australia are being put on notice as by the federal government as it prepares the online safety bill. Online safety sounds good. So fines of up to $110,000 will be dished out to anyone who bullies, offends, or trolls on websites and social media platforms once the bill passes through Parliament. The fine escalates to $550,000 for civil penalties. So the bill specifically targets those who write seriously harmful content like death threats, revenge porn. So I have no problem with that. I thought there was already laws against making death threats or inciting violence. Pretty sure that there's already laws against sharing revenge porn. But what worries me, or comments that intentionally menace or harass or offend. So that is very fucking vague. And yeah, I think there's a lot of potential for problems with how that would be applied. Social media companies like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram will also be forced to take down content that is considered harmful. By who? People who use pseudonyms and fake profiles would have their personal details handed over to authorities. Federal Minister for Communications and Cyber Safety, Paul Fletcher, told Sunrise, "We're taking action to keep Australians safe online." Okay, so that sounds good. It's not good enough that we can have vicious online trolls engaging in terrible attacks against people, which, as we know, in some situations have been so bad that they have led to suicide. So that is tragic, but I think it's sort of troubling when you use very sort of wishy-washy language, like anything that is, intentionally menacing or harmful or offensive. Obviously don't bully anyone to the point that they commit suicide. There is already, laws against calls to violent action, death threats. Yeah, it's just troubling to me. Australians need to be safe online as they are offline. We're seeking comment now on this law and we hope to legislate it next year. The bill would give Australia's e-Safety Commissioner the ability to force content to be taken down within 24 hours after an official complaint was lodged. E-Safety Commissioner Julie Inman-Grant says the rate of people reporting behaviour such as cyberbullying, image-based abuse and sex-based extortion has skyrocketed during the coronavirus pandemic. So, look, I don't have a problem with bullying specifically. I mean, I think there would already be laws that you could, prosecute like severe bullying under. Sex-based extortion, I'm sure there is already laws that you could prosecute that under. And image-based abuse, so like revenge porn, I'm very positive that there's laws you could prosecute that under. I don't have a problem with any of that. I don't condone posting revenge porn or making death threats against people online. I don't think that sort of comes under free speech, but when you outlaw saying offensive things, I think that's sort of getting into dangerous territory. So the online safety bill will also put pressure on social media companies to pull terrorist and extreme violent content linked to crisis events like the Christchurch attack. So fair enough, make Facebook take that down. I know in New Zealand they outlawed having the footage of that attack on your computer, or the terrorist manifesto. So again, this should go without saying, but I would condone what happened there. But having, you can have the Communist Manifesto on your computer, go and buy it, go and buy Mein Kampf. You can't outlaw literature. That's quite a scary precedent to set. And as far as the video goes, I can go on YouTube now and watch old news footage of 9/11, people jumping to their death out of the towers that I watched live when I was 11 years old. So I don't know what they're getting at, sort of trying to, it just seems like you're trying to whitewash or, just hide history. That's a historical event. People should be able to read that shooter's manifesto and see, where he came from, and you learn from that, and that sort of gives you an insight so you can stop things like that happening again. Problem I have with the Christchurch thing, they did everything they could to hide his manifesto and then basically lied about it in the media, lied about all of his political leanings, what his motivations were, and that, when you can hide content like that or outlaw it, then obviously you make it easier for the mainstream media to put their spin on things. So that's not in any way condoning that sort of behaviour, but I think people deserve to know exactly what motivated people to do something like that. There would also be higher standards for adults compared to children. They would face harsher penalties due to being mature. Mr. Fletcher added that the internet has brought great social, educational and economic benefits, but just as a small portion of human interactions go wrong offline, so too are the risks online. So I don't necessarily disagree with that. The Australian government's now seeking consultation on the bill with anyone can lodge their concerns or worries. The only thing that I really have a problem with is if you leave ambiguous language in there, if you're outlawing or having fines and penalties, $110,000 for if you offend someone online, you don't have a right not to be offended. You have a right to not be threatened, and not have even then, if you make death threats against someone online, you're a fucking idiot, and you should expect to have some attention come your way. But with this, I think all of our leaders in Australia are hopeless, to be quite honest. I got a little bit of joy recently with Scott Morrison, the Prime Minister, standing up to China, with this little trade war that started after asking for an investigation into COVID, and then they don't want to buy coal anymore, and is staying strong with them. And I, because of things that I've commented on in other videos, they're human rights abuses, and just they are not ethically aligned with us. If that did lead to a war with China, I would gladly follow him. I'd gladly die in that war if that's where that goes. But this bill, if they're going to push that, that is straight out of communist China playbook, as far as I'm concerned. I think all the death threats, calls to violent action, revenge porn, I think there's already laws that cover that, and maybe you could introduce harsher penalties for those things. But when you start introducing laws outlawing being offensive, or outlaw saying offensive things, that is the core principle of free speech, is the right to say offensive and unpopular things. So it's, not making someone feel unsafe or threatening their life or calling for someone else to commit a violent action. But I think that's already covered. You could beef up the penalties for those things, but I think that's problematic. I would encourage anyone to go and do some research on that and perhaps submit concerns if you have any to the Parliament. But yeah, that's that. I just wanted to put my 2 cents in there. If you liked the video, if you thought that was insightful, interesting, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel. We will have some more stuff out soon. What I say, share it with your friends if they haven't heard of it. But yeah, give it a like, subscribe, and yeah, we'll see you next time. And happy birthday to me tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Cheers, guys.